Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a chat about a new French vehicle that they added recently. This is the VBCI, and it is a huge vehicle. It's massive. It's a big chunky and has a very small armament on it. Now, the reason why I waited a long time to actually spade this thing and research it at the same time is just because it was missing a ton of its features. It actually came into the game probably one of the most broken vehicles of the update, but because it wasn't really hugely anticipated, nobody really paid attention to it. People were focusing on the Eurofighters and also the Rafale, whereas the VBCI came in and it didn't even have like a proper finished damage model or even an x-ray or anything like that. Things were being added after the fact and it was kind of weird. But after waiting about a month or 2 months, it is now fully going, apart from its system, one of its defensive systems that it has, one of its kind of passive sensor systems. But hopefully at some point that gets added in the future. Now, the vehicle itself is pretty simple. It is a IFV without, of course, its IFV capabilities and therefore limited in some other areas. It's very similar to the VBC PT2, apart from it's a lot bigger in terms of size than it, and also everything else is kind of the same though. So the simple thing is, this is a great second spawn vehicle. This is not a first spawn vehicle. This is a multi-role support vehicle that you can play aggressive with after the first spawn. So the first spawn in this lineup at 9-3 for France is the AMX-32, and then also you have the AMX-32-105 that you can bring along too, which are two very capable MBTs, very good when it comes to their damage, and also the 20mm is nice, and also general mobility. The only area they kind of struggle is armor, so you will probably get donked a few times, and that's where the VBCI comes in. The VBCI has access to a 25mm CN25. This is the M811 cannon, and what this means is it's a rapid-fire 25mm. So it's good at targeting planes. It does have track IRST. I haven't really been using it to great effect, I've got to be honest. It doesn't seem to work great for me, but that's just, you know, my unfortunate setup. Like, sometimes I'm just terrible at shooting. But yeah, it has the track, so you can go after planes, and also it's rapid fire, so it can go after lighter targets and hammer through them. This is the 25mm, not the 30 or 35mm. So what it gets is an APFSDS, which pens up to 92mm. And remember, they did say at some point when it comes to the APDS and APFSDS category for these types of guns, they are going to reduce its post-pen effect, but they said that a few months ago and it hasn't happened yet. So we're just kind of waiting around to see when that's going to happen. But at the moment, they work really well. There's only one vehicle that this doesn't work well against at the BR from the side or from the rear, and that is the T80UD. The T80UD actually has quite a decent amount of armor on the side of it, which means you need over 100mm of penetration to be able to penetrate it from the side. So this vehicle can't really do damage to it, and it's really annoying because of that. So you basically just have to stare at them, even if you are side on. You can only pen very specific parts of it and not destroy it. You can take out kind of the transmission and that's it. So kind of leaves you being shot at, which is not very fun. So that is a bit of a problem. Now, as a second spawn, you can use it as an aggressive scout. You can fly around the place and use the APFSDS, which I think is the perfect way to play this thing. But for me, since I was spading it, I decided to play it as a first spawn and get that APFSDS as quick as possible, and also get all of the other factors. There's a lot of factors about this vehicle from a modification standpoint that are actually really nice. You know, it is annoying that the APFSDS is rank 4, means that you have to get through a lot of modifications to get there, but every modification helps this vehicle quite a lot. So it isn't just something where you are like really like kind of failing at trying to get all of the modifications until you get the really nice ones. Each one does have quite a big benefit to you, because the vehicle itself actually has some quite nice characteristics when it starts. It is quite mobile. It does have quite a nice turret rotation speed. So once you get those upgrades, which give you percentage increases, such as the horizontal drive, which gives you nearly 20%, the adjustment of fire, which gives you, 20% more accuracy, same with the elevator mechanism. But because you already have those high values, it is quite nice, and it just makes it a little bit easier to kind of grind through. Now, the other parts of it is there are some modifications that are in a bit weird places that you do want to get. Obviously, the thermals at rank 1, and then also you have the APDS at rank 1, plus the LWSLR at rank 2. This means you kind of get stuck in this area before progressing into the APFSDS. That is kind of annoying. It would actually be better for the vehicle if the thermals were actually rank 2 and the LWS was rank 3 to give you a more natural progression through the parts of it that you need. And the LWSLR is required. This is something that is really needed, especially against stuff like helicopters and also general CAS when you are getting lased, because guess what? Unfortunately, this vehicle is huge, so it gets attacked a lot by CAS because it's seen as a big target, and guess what? It doesn't have a lot of armor either, so you get overpressure quite easily by things. There's no spore liner or anything in this vehicle apart from a little bit of internal armor, which doesn't really stop anything. You also get Gen 2 thermals, so you can see into the eyes of God, which is always fun, and that helps you out quite a lot. So it would actually be better if these things were a bit higher rank, so it would just make your progression a little bit better. But generally, I didn't feel like the progression was too bad. It would have been nice to have another rank 4 modification just to make all of the other modifications a little bit cheaper, because of the simple fact that they are quite pricey for what they are, but all of them are very useful, so not really too much of a bother there. I actually had a really good time in this vehicle by the end. Of course, having a pretty low penning shell before you get to rank 4 and even after rank 4 having a low penning shell can be annoying, but if you use it as a second spawn and use it as kind of that supportive vehicle which can go on aggressive flank and rat-a-tat people, it can be really nice. It does have quite a lot of empty space in it, meaning that you can, trick people into shooting you and then going from there. It does have quite a nice commander's optic, which also has a thermal on it, so therefore you can kind of scout stuff as you go around. And there are situations where you will just be sat there and it's like, oh, this guy's pushing me and all I can do is scout him and I can't do anything else and he's going to kill me. But that's like all of these light tanks at this BR with the autocannons. I would rather have a rapid fire 25mm than the slow Bushmaster, which will do damage, but isn't as good at the anti-air and isn't as good in other areas. The survivability on this thing is not great. You basically only have 3 crew members, and one of them is sat in the turret. So if your turret is exposed, they'll shoot you in the turret, and if it doesn't hit your ammo, then what will end up happening is you'll lose the crew. So now you can't peek with your turret anymore, because the moment you do, you're going to die, because they can just pen through it and kill your other crew member. So basically, yeah, the survivability on this compared to the premium is a lot lower. The MCT-30, because if you didn't know about the MCT-30, it doesn't actually have a crew member in the turret. All it has is the ammo, and if you hit the ammo, it just explodes and doesn't destroy the vehicle, which is quite nice. Unfortunately, the standard VBCI doesn't have this, and therefore is a bit worse. But the lineup around it is really nice. I had a decent time in the AMX-32. It's a vehicle I go back to quite a lot to enjoy myself with, just because I like how it plays. And the Santal is frustrating, I think is probably the best way of putting it. Those Mistrals are just, I don't know, they're just not good. They supposedly have a proximity fuse on them. They don't feel like they do, so I don't know what's going on with them. But generally, at least, the AMX-32s are fun. I would definitely give this thing a go, but I feel it would be frustrating for people because, as I said, there are just matchups where you will not be able to do anything, and that is just not very fun. But generally, if you like vehicles which are a bit more multi-role, which are able to do kind of more for the battlefield instead of just killing stuff, obviously this would be a great vehicle for you. And since, it's been plonked before the Vextra, and the Vextra is really fun, then you'll probably end up playing this thing anyway. I played 64 battles in this thing to spade it, 66% win rate, which is very good for France, and then also 74 ground kills, 59 deaths, and 10 air kills. So you can see, compared to a lot of other vehicles where usually we get 2-to-1s or 3-to-1s, it's a lot less on this vehicle, but that's because, you know, you're scouting a lot, you're playing aggressively to get to nice positions where you can help your team the most. So that's where, you know, the victory rate is a lot better compared to others. That's what you're trying to do in this type of vehicle. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.